tokenization. It's the future, man. Like, it's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. More and more of the big banks, as we discussed in the last few streams, are moving towards tokenized deposits. They are literally, transforming the banking system as we speak. And now the New York Stock Exchange, the NYSE, is literally looking at 24-hour trading. 24-hour trading. You had 24 hours now to make poor decisions. To make poor decisions. 24 hours to lose your mortgage, to lose your kid's future education fund. You have 24 hours to do all of it, which is insane. I don't think, me personally, I don't try to trade. I try to make sound investments and hold it for as long as I can. But this is going to be terrible. A lot of people are going to lose their socks.
The idea of tokenization and having investors own tokens of a larger blueprint of a company. Explain that to us. Where is this going, and what is tokenization?
Well, so tokenization is the idea of using then smart contracts or tokens on-chain to be able to, that represent, say, an underlying security. And so then that tokenized security is a security and would be subject to SEC rules by law. But the idea is that if it's on-chain, on a blockchain, then there's much more transparency as to where it is. Right now, there's a bit of opacity as to who owns what and where the company usually doesn't even know where its who its shareholders are, and where the shareholders reside, where the shares reside. So tokenization has the benefit of potentially having, instead of T+1 now, trade date +1 for
and that wow, that T+1 rule is basically the settlement date. Like, usually when you trade, you have to wait the time of the trade plus 1 day for your funds to settle into your account. That's T+1.
Clearance and settlement. The prospect of maybe T0 now, depending on the instrument, and we have to think about netting and all sorts of other things with respect to some instruments. But in principle, the idea of on-chain delivery versus payment and receipt versus payment, DVP, RVP on-chain is.
And that T0 is, basically you get your money instantaneously. Like, you get your money right now.
A prospect of de-risking the markets, making them much more transparent and then sure as far as clearance and settlement, because it's always that the gap between clearance and settlement and then delivery and payment is the real introduces risk into the system.
Do you expect this is where financial services is going? Are the major banks and the brokers out there today moving?
I mean, it definitely is, without a question. BNY Mellon, State Street, BlackRock, all these big banks, JP Morgan and Chase, all the big banks are heading in that direction. Like, I don't know if it's gonna be good, because once those big banks get into the pot, they're gonna start messing shit up, because they want to stay in control as part of their plan. They want to control the market. They want to have authority over the market. They don't want the regular guy, and also they can, because they have more money than the regular guy, and they can just hop in and bully everybody the way they want it to go.
Increasingly toward tokenization?
Oh, absolutely, and it's the way the world will be, here in maybe not even in 10 years, maybe even a lot less time, maybe a couple of years from now. So I think that all of this modernization of the markets, I think, is good. And the trouble that we've seen here over the past few years is that the SEC.
I think some of it is good as well. Because the banking system hasn't evolved quite much. Like, I mean, I work at a bank and I know the banking system hasn't evolved at all. Like some of the software that is being used is like, it's so old, like looking, like the code base is very, very old and is not being updated because it simply cannot be updated or things will just crash. Some of the same processes, and I'm just talking about like the software that's being used in the background to process like the core. Like, they have something they call the core in banking. Think of Fiserv Forum, that's a core. They process all of your transactions in a bank. So the code of that core is terribly old. The interface is old, it's garbage. Like it's a nightmare to support it, to be quite honest with you. And not only that, some of the other things that we do is like dated back to like 1958 type joint. Like the banking system needs to be like built from the ground up, like a new system, like which is what cryptocurrency or tokenization will provide. Like we're still verifying people with signatures. Like when somebody signs something, we don't go verify that this person is the person that they say they are, right? We just accept that signature to be the person signing it, even if the signature doesn't match. If that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like in comparison, on the blockchain, we can have, fingerprinting. We can verify that this is the person doing the transaction, transacting. I think a lot of things can be beneficial from tokenization basically. And tokenization basically is the process of backing, like they're backing real assets with tokens, which we already discussed as well. So, they can make a token and back it up with a real dollar, like for one, which is where you get things like, stable coins, where every dollar you deposit, the exchange keeps a dollar on deposit, like they're backing it with the US dollar or the USD. That's where they're heading. And it's so much more news around like tokenization in general in the past like few months, starting in like December and moving into January. Like there's no way, even though I know right now the current market is dipping, like, and this is not about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is completely different. When we're talking about tokenization and stable coins and so forth and so on, and altcoins and all of that, and then meme coins, that cryptocurrency is very complex, like when you really think about it, because there are so many different avenues you can go into. But for the stable coins that these, Ether, Ethereum, ETH, XRP, all these stable coins, there are a lot of value into that because that's where the big institutional investors are going to use basically to do their tokenization. Unless they start each bank, because they have the power to do that. Like, everybody can just wake up tomorrow and create their own cryptocurrency. But if all of these big banks are dumping their money into these, Ethereum, and they're using it as, the platform where they're doing these tokenizations, XRP, which is most likely will be the platform for a lot of big banks as well. I think it's worth it. I think it's worth hedging your future against it, because once the dollar is constantly losing value, as we already know, inflation is killing us. Leaving your money in the bank is a lose-lose. Leaving your money in the bank is a lose-lose for you, because you're getting pennies on a dollar. So you might as well put the $100 you have in your savings into one of these coins, because it might go up, but also it might crash. It's not financial advice. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's worth hedging your future. But anyways, the $80 billion shift hitting Wall Street, tokenizing everything. The New York Stock Exchange announced today that it's building a tokenized security platform. The system will offer 24/7 trading, instant settlement, and stablecoin-based funding for U.S. equities and ETFs. That's what we were just talking about. BNY and Citi are partnering with parent company ICE to support tokenized deposits across this neighborhood. These people, they are so big into like the financial and banking world. Like all the big news or like big investor relationship things, you have to go get it from them. Like rates that banks use. They, if you're into like that kind of like stuff, I stalked their website basically. We are leading the industry towards fully on-chain solutions, grounded in the unmatched protection and high regulatory standards that position us to marry trust with state-of-the-art technology. Hold on. This isn't a crypto startup pitching blockchain to skeptical bankers. No, it's not. It's the world's oldest and largest stock exchange adapting the infrastructure that crypto builders have been developing for years. And that's the other thing too. Like, I think you don't have to be a first in the pack, you know? I personally don't think so, and I'm not trying to be. But I think the time is right. It's right now. If you want to enjoy at least some of the dip or some of the bottom, I think now is a very nice entry point. The tokenization of everything. The NYSE move is a prominent example, but it's far from the only one. Tokenization is hitting every asset class simultaneously, all together, man. In commodities, StreamX Corp is preparing to launch GLDY, a yield-bearing gold token that pays investors up to 4% annually in additional gold. The company, which went public via reverse merger last year, that's the other thing too. I think a lot of the MSTRs and all these other companies buying, you know, in my personal opinion, this is a personal opinion, I think allegedly whatever, might be some kind of, to me it looks like some kind of Ponzi scheme. They are literally selling equities to buy Bitcoin. They need more people to come in, more people to buy into their equities, and then they go and buy more Bitcoin. And then they use the new investor money to pay out the old investor money. Does that sound familiar? It sounds like Social Security, doesn't it? You know, all these old people are waiting for younger people to come in to work and pay into the system so they can retire. Ponzi scheme. Ponzi scheme doesn't mean it's not legal. We have the Social Security system. It's a Ponzi scheme, and it's technically legal, and it's happening. But MSTR is also doing it. Although there are other companies doing this with gold, they are backing their tokenization with gold, and some other people are doing it with the dollar, the fiat dollar. Tokenization is what allows us to scrutinize that process. Before tokenization exists, to be able to securitize that, one would be extremely hard, and it would be a lot of work and a lot of lawyers going back and forth. StreamX is targeting a 22 trillion gold market with a product that designed specifically so ETFs and retail brokers can distribute it. Anyways, it's big money. That's all I know. It's big money, big money, big money talk. Tokenization is the future, man. I'm even more bullish now than I was yesterday. I don't know where it's gonna go, and you know these. Although I do work for a bank, like I hate saying this, I understand. I understand. You know, I have my loyalty. You know, that's where my bread is buttered. The banks are not trustworthy for real. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not trustworthy for real. Like, they can pull up, crash the whole market so they can buy everything from the bottom and then, you know, basically throw the finger up to everybody that's already in the market. So right now, although I am bullish, it's not financial advice, I am not going in fully. I am just buying enough to where, like, if it crash, I'll be okay. I'll still be able to live my life exactly like I'm living it right now. But if it does crash, like a big crash happen, I'm gonna go all the way in, because if it does happen, like a big crash, I know these like investors, what they always do is they wait for the market to crash, or they intentionally crash it, and then they buy everything up for pennies on the dollar. 2008. You you can go all the way back, and that's just how they move. But I'm in for the long term. I'm in for the long haul. Like 10 years is my goal. I'm gonna go in, invest for 10 years. We'll see if I made a mistake on that. In terms of talking about long-term investing, the other thing that, I mean, I wasn't streaming then, but 1 year ago, I invested in silver, because silver, I don't want to do this because I have a 1-bedroom apartment, bro. Like, I don't have a safe. I'm not gonna hold any physical gold, although I do get a safe box deposit where I work at. Like, it's free because I'm an employee of the bank. I don't want to put my gold or my silver there. If like they get robbed, I'm assed out. Like, I lose my gold and I lose my silver. I would want to keep my gold and silver in my spot. You know what I'm saying? Get me the biggest shotgun, like a bazooka or something, just to protect it. But you can also invest in silver as in the form of stock. I was able to get in pretty early, man. I was able to get in pretty early. In this current phase, I was able to get in around here, like at $30-something. In this current phase that it's in right now, I'm offloading my crap. Like, I'm letting it go. I'm letting it go. I'm letting some of it go. Not all of it, but I'm letting some of it go. If it does go back down again, which I don't think is going to happen anytime soon, because the dollar is just getting wrecked right now. Like, and I don't know too much about the geopolitics of things, but I try to watch the news and let them tell me a little bit more. But if the crap start going down back to the $30 range, I'm gonna start buying in a little bit more. Gold too. Like, I feel like I want to hold like physical gold, but I feel like you got to hold that for a longer period of time. And of course, gold is more expensive. I can't really afford that. I can't really afford that, unless you buy in fractional. Like, my return is handsome, my boy. My return is handsome. Like, it's a 227% return in 1 year. So I personally don't think it's a good time right now to go in, but what do I know? You know what I'm saying? It's not financial advice. Like, do what you please, it's your money. But I think buying silver and gold is the move right now, because the market is so uncertain. Like, the stock market is uncertain. The future of the dollar is uncertain, because everybody's moving to tokenization. Owning physical asset is always the king, because that shit will always be in demand, especially for gold. You know what I'm saying? There's, according to science, it's a finite amount, and even to get more, you have to put in labor. You have to put in a lot of resources to extract it from the earth. There is value into that. And also, more and more countries are starting to get, the Chinas and Russias. I don't know the exact number, but I know over the past few years, they've been harnessing the crap out of gold and silver. I don't know how much, though. How much is China's gold stockpile? Also, we were supposed to get a audit of the U.S. gold reserves. We never got that, and allegedly, it might. We might not have any of that gold for real, which is why Mr. Trump never audited it. I guess he figured out that we didn't actually have any gold. We sold it all to China. But anyways, investing in any of these assets is always a good move. It's always a good move. The People Bank of China are officially listed at 2,279.56 ton, and that's in 2024. Like these people have been harvesting so much gold. I don't know how much the U.S. is currently holding. The U.S. gold reserves have surpassed 1 trillion in value, more than 90 times what the stated. I don't know, man. I think as a citizen, I want to see that audit that was promised by Trump. I think it'll be very interesting to actually see that the gold actually exists, which is also another good investment when the gold prices start going down a little bit. Maybe invest into buying some physical gold or physical coin or bars, depends how much money you have. If you're rolling in money, I'd buy one or two. You know what I'm saying? It's the best way to keep your money, keep the value of your money on pace with inflation. Because as long as you have a little bit of emergency money or a little bit of emergency fund, I think it's worth buying and keeping physical gold. But if you're struggling to eat like I am, then it's probably not the best. It's probably not the best investment idea for you, because in case of an emergency, you're gonna have to sell that gold, and it doesn't really make a lot of sense for you to go sell that gold right away after you just bought it. So, which is why I haven't bought any physical gold, because I would want to hold it for the long haul. Yeah, man. Yeah. So I guess that's a long rant on that. My price target again is around like $30. I'll start getting back in. If I can catch it around that, but $35, I think it's another good entry. If I do get it around that price, I'll slowly getting back in, cost averaging my purchasing, and then I think this shit might hit $100 by mid-June. 100, maybe even more, like 100, 120. But I may not know what I'm talking about, because as the dollar continues to get pummeled, the price, silver value will continue to go up.